Whenever people say I'm going to get married, the first thing that they need to figure out is when they're going to get married.
Introduce calligraphy in a wedding. Of course, it's invitations.
Save the date. You have a wedding suite, place cards, seating cards and envelopes, table numbers. Some people want us to write thank you notes. It really depends on the kind of wedding people are asking for.
Hi, my name is Andrea, and besides of being recently married, I own the leading company in bouquet preservation in the world. It is when connecting with my clients that I felt the need to serve them and help them navigate this new and exciting journey. On this podcast, we bring you everything you need to know to plan the wedding of your dreams. We'll be featuring conversations with top wedding vendors and valuable tips and advice from real couples. Whether you're engaged or simply love, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and let's get started on this journey to your perfect wedding day. Welcome to the club, to Bridal Club.
We have here today Susie-Melissa. She was actually a teacher of mine at SMU first. She taught me how to do calligraphy, and then eventually I went to her studio, and ever since I've been a huge fan of her work. We also collaborated back in the day, I think it was 2019, on a press flower workshop with some of her calligraphy students as well, and it was super exciting. Susie-Melissa, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Why don't you tell our audience who you are and how you started your business?
Well, I was 13 actually when I started, but I just didn't know that it would be my vocation. So in school, they had in Dallas schools, one semester would be art and the other semester was music. They had 1 week of calligraphy. And I was so excited to do something that I really enjoyed. I had pen pals. I wrote a lot of letters. So I got a lot of practice in, but my mother gave me a speedball textbook, and I really honed in on the lettering styles that I really enjoyed doing. From there, basically, I was self-taught. I had an opportunity to do hand lettering for Mobile Oil after school. They had me come in on the weekends to do special projects that they didn't really want other people to see. I loved doing that. Then my art teacher called and said, you have a job at the administration building as their graphic artist if you would like to do that. Just go down and tell them how much you want to make a month. I was blown over.
Do you remember what year this was?
Probably 1970.
Wow. That's amazing.
The good news, my boss was actually my principal from high school. I loved it. I was with the school district for 4.5 years. And, through all of those principals and consultants throughout the district, I met a lot of people because I had the opportunity to work for the superintendent.
Wow.
And that was a lot of fun because he had all kinds of projects, but yet these principals and consultants also gave me work. And however I wanted to do the presentation was fine with them. So needless to say, I had an opportunity to practice my lettering. After 4.5 years of that, my boss passed, and I thought, it's time for me to go out on my own. So I did. And 3 days after I was on my own, the school district called, and in 1 day, I made my salary that I was making a month. And I did signs for them, and it was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. I did the right thing.
What an amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing. You and I are both artists, very different, but we are both artists, and we're just very lucky to be able to do what we love. I would say that most people probably can't say that, but after 54 years or something like that in the industry, do you still love what you do, and are you still as passionate?
Absolutely. Very, very passionate. I actually had taught through SMU for 53 years.
Wow.
This fall, a week before classes were going online, they let me know that they discontinued all of the enrichment courses.
It's so sad. I mean, that is how I met you.
Yes. And I've made so many great friends that way. So I do miss having that interaction, but I'm doing classes here in the office, and I've already had 13 people come through. So wherever they hear about me, it's like they just want to learn how to do hand lettering.
My dad, oh my gosh, you would love my dad's handwriting, and he does use fountain pens. He always has my entire life. Such a classic type of art that I believe that everybody should take one of your classes.
Thank you. I don't want to ever give that up, but as long as I can teach and we have people who would like to learn, I'm available.
Can you tell me a little bit more about all your work and the commissions that you've done? I know there's a big list, and I would love for our listeners to hear a little bit from you.
I have a lot of people share what they do. A lot of my customers, I'm not allowed to do that. I can tell you that I do work for the Bush Library, but I can't post anything. I've done work for Chanel. They don't want anyone posting that they're your client. I've done things for Tiffany's in the bridal area. I've done a lot of work for Neiman's. In fact, I'll be at Neiman's this Saturday in their perfume area, engraving on candles and perfume bottles. I do certificates for American Heart. I actually designed the certificate back in the 70s that I fill in today. So that's been a while. Fortune 500 companies, a lot of them have been great customers.
So obviously this podcast is geared to brides specifically. So tell me more about how we can introduce calligraphy in weddings.
Whenever people say I'm going to get married, the first thing that they need to figure out is when they're going to get married. They need to get the particulars down, get their venue, and then they need to work on their invitations. I mean, you can tell us about that since you just did that.
We spent so much money on this wedding that at the end, I was like, you know what? I don't want to do invitations. It's such a small wedding, 30 people. I just want to do them digitally. And my husband is absolutely not. The invitation is going to be the cover of what the wedding is going to be like. It needs to be amazing. It's setting the tone for an invitation. And honestly, we did such a great job with the invitation, to be honest, that people were texting me when they got it and they were so excited to attend the wedding because of that invitation. So yes, I totally agree with you.
I love that. That is fantastic. A lot of the people in Dallas doing calligraphy have been my students. Whenever people ask, yes, I do that sort of work, but I also try to send work to my students who really want to do something like this.
So unique ways to incorporate calligraphy into a wedding, of course, it's invitations. And I do believe that whenever you see something handwritten, it's just different. Whenever they're opening it, they're just more excited because it almost feels more personal. What other areas do you think you can introduce calligraphy in a wedding?
There are so many things to tap into at a wedding. You have your invitation, of course. Something that they have come out with over the years is save the date to let their friends know, hey, this is going to be coming up. So you have a wedding suite, which would incorporate your reply card, the invitation itself, maybe the little card that is within the ribbon. It really depends on the kind of wedding people are asking for. Because in Dallas, I have found traditional is not the only way that people want to go. They want something that is themed. If that's the case, I need to help guide them by showing them different styles of lettering, because not everybody wants script, which is beautiful, and we think of tradition. And I'm very traditional, but I do offer a lot of other styles of lettering, but people have to do their homework. They need to know how to write their invitation or ask for help. You give your client what they want. If they want place cards, seating cards and envelopes, the table numbers. Actually, some people want us to write thank you notes.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on what they're asking for. I had some students yesterday who were asking about the envelopes and whether or not they could put Aunt Mary and Uncle Joe. Mm-hmm. And I said, it's good to tell people what etiquette is. But if that's what the client wants, you just tell me because you're writing the check.
Yep, I agree. You mentioned personalization, and I kind of want to talk to you because I know you do this, like custom logos and monograms for either weddings or a party. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
I had somebody come through today. He wanted his own monogram. Well, a lot of people have an idea about what they want. So I ask that they give me an idea of what they want because it'll save them money in the long run, because I'm not going to do 5 or 6 designs and it not be what they see. You want to work with somebody and do what their vision is. It's a lot of fun to do monograms or just do names or whatever, but people a lot of the time have seen something and they want something similar to a logo or maybe a restaurant name, the way it's written. People like different styles of lettering, so you need to show kind of an assortment. So if I know somebody's coming, I pull out my monogram file so they can kind of see things that I've done. I have some books that are no longer in print that are a lot of fun to pull out, because then they're going, oh, look at these. And a lot of times we borrow from things that have already been done and make them into a monogram for the individual bride or bride and groom if they want stationery.
Oh, that's a great idea too. Just incorporating on different things. And even like after the wedding, that's so sweet. Just to do like
Yes,
thank you cards, like I mean, for years and years to come, and just continue to use that monogram that you create for them.
absolutely. Well, brides have asked that they want a quote unquote wedding monogram, which would be his initial, her initial, and the new last name. A lot of brides don't realize you can't use that on a wedding invitation. You have to use the bride's initials
What?
because they are not married yet.
Oh,
So,
I totally did that though.
oh,
It's
did you?
I didn't know any better. I didn't
You know
have
what?
guidance.
It was your party. You can do what you want.
Oh my gosh. I love
But
it though.
that is something that people don't realize. Now, am I going to tell them I'm not going to do a monogram because that's what they have in their head that they want? Absolutely not. You just tell me what you want, and we'll work on that.
That is so funny. Well, my maiden last name starts with a C as well. So we just
Yes,
have a J for Justin. So going back to the engraving, I want to touch base on that really quick. You did say that you were engraving candles and perfume
yes,
bottles. So is
yes.
that something that you've done for weddings, and what else can you do?
Well, whenever you engrave on different things, actually is engrave on jewelry, plexiglass. We can do, of course, glass. People want to see their name written. It's a great gift
Yes,
that
I agree. Very personal. An amazing gift, honestly, for a couple that's getting married too.
it really is. I mean, this was back in the olden days whenever guys wore cufflinks, but people would do a lot of engraving for cufflinks. But there's sometimes people want people at their parties to maybe engrave champagne flutes.
Oh, that's so sweet. Tell me, like, if you were to choose one of your favorite projects in these 54 years, which one would you say it is?
I did a resolution for the CEO of E-Systems. It took me, I only had 2 weeks, so it took me 104 hours to do it.
Oh,
And this was back in 1987. They had seen an illuminated piece on my wall that was kind of hidden behind a plant, but they found it, said, we want a resolution that looks like this. I love that challenge. It was wonderful. As it turns out, whenever he passed away, his wife had the resolution. She became a great client and would let me borrow the resolution, which is in a huge frame.
well,
I would teach my illumination class. The first letter for a scripture or something is a very ornate letter with the gold leaf or silver leaf. Whenever she passed, I had the opportunity to purchase this huge piece back for
wow.
$100.
Oh my gosh.
It's really kind of fun because I kept my original layout. Whenever I teach the illumination class, I can show them, here's where I started. It's kind of like in doing wedding invitations. You do a layout, you run it by your customer and make sure that it's exactly what they want. If not, that's the time to make the revisions before it goes to us.
I love that. I honestly thought that you were gonna say whenever you made the place cards for the Queen Elizabeth.
Well, that's one of them, yes.
Can you tell that story real quick?
She was coming to town. She was going to have high tea at the Adolphus Hotel. So they had me do place card for two. In their cookbook, that place card is actually in the setting of the tea.
What an amazing story and what an honor.
Well, it was. Yes, it definitely was.
I want to go back to one of your classes. It's been quite a while. I think it's been, well, what, it's 5 years now. Can you imagine? That's insane. For those who are interested as well, tell us a little bit more on how they can find you and how to connect with you.
I have a website and it's Calligraphic Arts, and they can also call me 214-522-4731. I'm in the Turley Law Center at the corner of University and Central. I'm on the 4th floor. I love to have people come through. I also have a gift wrap service. In doing weddings, we actually do gift bags. If people want that, or we wrap the gifts for maybe the groom or bridesmaids. We offer a lot of things wedding related. We love to do things like that. Plus, I do teach gift wrap classes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now we're talking.
Yeah. So if people want to learn to do that, it's just a couple of hours here at the office. We have a really good time. Some do it as a group and bring wine or champagne and munchies.
For the bridal party or a bridal shower, that would be so sweet.
Yes, because everybody loves it. I recommend that people actually put a real gift in there. Otherwise, you have a great gift wrap sitting around that doesn't have anything in it. There are people who will pay to have people like me do gift wrap for them.
We live in a digital world on the one hand, and on the other hand, a very fast-paced world where if you go to a baby shower, everybody's opening the gifts so fast. Whenever they stop and stare at the gift, that's when you know your gift is amazing. That's when you know it's appreciated, and it just comes from the outside.
Yes, yes. And people love presentations. They want something that other people ooh and ah over. We wrap year round. So if that's something your audience would like to participate in, we'd love it.
Susie-Melissa, thank you so much for your time today. It was a pleasure talking to you after 5 years. I know you and I have spoken through Instagram and email, but actually hearing your voice and hopefully connecting in person soon is going to be a dream. So thank you again so much for your time.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your having me and would love to see you.
Yes, ma'am, you will.
Wonderful.
Learn about all things wedding straight from the experts. Be sure to like and subscribe to Bridal Club.